Hallo?
Hé lieverd, wat lief dat je een filmpje hebt gestuurd aan me. Ik ben goed aangekomen. Heb jij een nieuwe trui aan?
Ja.
Eens kijken.
Nee.
Had ik nog niet eerder gezien. Wil je mijn hotelkamer zien? Ik ben IJsbrand. IJsbrand van Velen. Ik ben journalist en vader van een puber van 14. Maxine Claire van Velen. Ik lees kranten en kijk om me heen en zie alleen maar sombere vooruitzichten. Voedselcrisis, economische crisis, klimaatcrisis, morele crisis. Wat betekent dat eigenlijk allemaal voor de toekomst? De toekomst van mijn dochter Max. Dat ga ik uitzoeken. En dat brengt me natuurlijk als eerste bij de tovenaars van Hollywood. De plek waar toekomstvisies tastbaar gemaakt worden. Downtown LA. En daar ga ik straks naartoe. Naar Daniel H. Wilson.
Who is a PhD graduate from the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon University. Daniel has worked at various top research laboratories, including Microsoft Research. His book,
Robopocalypse, wordt verfilmd door Steven Spielberg. En het gaat over robots. En toen dacht ik opeens, stel je voor dat jij over een tijdje les zou krijgen van een robot. Hoe zou je dat vinden?
Vreselijk.
Vreselijk?
Ja. Ik denk ten eerste niet dat het werkt. En ten tweede lijkt het me gewoon heel vervelend. Dat je het gewoon... Ik weet niet. Het moet echt een mens van vlees en bloed zijn of zo.
Maar als die robot nou heel erg op een mens lijkt?
Ja, ik weet niet. Ik kan het me moeilijk voorstellen. Maar ik denk dat je na een tijdje, als je alleen maar les krijgt van robots, dat je dan je sociale vaardigheden verliest. En dat het dan heel moeilijk wordt om contact te leggen met andere mensen.
Dit is het boek. Ik ga je even een stukje voorlezen van het eerste hoofdstuk, oké?
Ja.
20 minutes after the war ends, I'm watching stumpers pour up out of a frozen hole in the ground like ants from hell. And praying that I keep my natural legs for another day. Each walnut-sized robot is lost in the mix as they climb over each other, and the whole nightmare jumble of legs and antenna blends together
into one seething, murderous mass. With numb fingers, I fumble my goggles down over my eyes and get ready to do some business with my little friend Rob here. It's an oddly quiet morning, just the sigh of the wind through stark tree branches and the hoarse whisper of 100,000 explosive mechanical hexapods searching for human victims. Up above, snow geese honk to each other as they glide over the frigid Alaskan landscape. The war is over. It's time to see what we can find.
Dr. Wilson, I presume?
Ice! Hey.
You are a dad.
Yes.
Like I am.
I am.
And now you write these gloomy stories about the future. Wouldn't it be more fun to write rosy stories for your kid?
Well, it's much more exciting to write stories that really speak to the fear that we have of our tools, you know?
You're also a robotics engineer. What inspires your vision of the future?
I'm definitely inspired by the experiences I've had in the laboratory. I mean, there was a moment when I was picking my degree and I saw artificial intelligence and robotics was really something you could study. I thought that was science fiction, you know? And then there it is, and how can you not study that?
Yeah.
This stuff is real. And
Do you really believe that robots are going to take over the world?
I don't think robots is going to be taking over the world. I think we're going to become robots.
it is fair to kind of be afraid because they're moving more and more into our creative tasks. They're writing music, they're taking care of people, they're, making paintings, they're doing things that used to be just for us, you know?
We're in the near future, right? My daughter walks into a bar or a restaurant. Will she be served by a robot or by a human being?
I guess that depends on which kind of bar she goes into or which restaurant, you know? I suppose you could pay extra to get a human being.
What would you prefer, actually?
If it's a beer, I think I need a human being to set a beer down in front of me. Otherwise, you're drinking alone. Thanks.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, I forgot to mention something earlier. You know, I think this could go beyond digital kids versus analog parents. I mean, what happens when your daughter decides to upload her mind into a machine?
And this is science fiction. It's being written about for decades.
Do you still love her? Is it okay to erase her program? You know, what if she makes 1,000 copies of herself? Should you love all of them equally?
Een 1000-voudige digitale versie van mijn dochter, waarvan er eentje altijd voor mij beschikbaar is, terwijl de rest ergens anders actief is? Wordt dat de toekomst?
Hey, Maddie.
Yes.
Can you tell us, where are you taking us?
I am going to take you to Mrs. Sid Mead's house in Pasadena. you know, and he's the most famous production designer in Hollywood and in the whole world, and for the movies like Blade Runners and Star Trek and the new movie Asylum, and also he's a legend.
Me.
Good to see you. Come on inside the house.
Please. Thank you.
We've been here 16 years, which is hard to believe. I mean, time goes bang, 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 bang. Seems like we just moved all this stuff in here a couple months ago. Now he's going to precede us, and then. No, it's been a nice time.
Could you sketch for me the house that my daughter might live in?
Let's say this is a floor plan.
Right.
And then you start dividing it up into this area, this area, this area, or maybe this area. This is your boundary of your house. Now that's architectural. The house of the future could be a modular accommodation like a luxury hotel. If you go into the virtual world, her house might be a readout, her name here, preferences over here, and some graphic or something. And this would be a dossier. And that is identity. If your daughter is 14 now, her generation will have the option perhaps of living as long as she likes. The data is more important than the article. The haptic sensation of touch is being perfected. So you can touch, talk, listen, hear, smell, anywhere you are. Fantasy is what we'd like things to be like. Fantasy is what we'd like things to be like. So your daughter, 14 years old, she is going to be in a world that to us now would be completely indistinguishable from pure fantasy.
We wouldn't recognize it, you mean?
I don't think so. The pyramids will still be there. The Leaning Tower of Pisa probably have not fallen over yet. I'm now 80.
Right.
And if I can last 20 more years...
20 years? Everything happens in 20 years.
And have my head in a box, my mentality in a box, then you can cruise the world's electronic pathways, and we don't know what that experience will really be like, but it's going to happen.
Als ik Sid moet geloven, gaat Max en haar hele generatie straks virtueel reizen en zal ze die reizen fysiek beleven. Wauw, benieuwd wat Max daarvan vindt.
Hallo?
Hé, schatje, met papa. Ik probeer je te skypen over...
Ja, sorry. Ik moet nu heel snel naar school.
Oh, ik heb me helemaal vergist in de tijd. Ga maar snel dan. Ja? Ben je al te laat of niet?
Dag. Ja.
Oké, dag, tot heel gauw, hè? Dag, liefie.
Ja, dag.
Doei. Naar school? Hoe lang zal dat fysiek eigenlijk nog nodig zijn? Bij Disney werkt een tovenaar die het begrip fysiek een hele nieuwe dimensie geeft.
I don't think it's such a bad thing to be able to download more of your personality in the digital data, not only your pictures, not only your voice, not only your movie images, but also some of your personality, feelings, tactile sensations.
But how should I imagine that? I mean, could I touch my daughter? I'm talking to her
over
through
Skype. Over Skype, yeah. We can high five her, right?
No shit.
Yeah, like this, right?
I can high five.
You can high five her, yes.
I can touch her.
You can touch her. You can touch her cheek and say like, oh, you know, honey, you feel hot. Maybe, you know, you have a fever. Maybe you should go check a doctor. Maybe she can bring her pet, you know, and say, oh, you know, touch my, you know, whatever, bunny or something. So the goal here is not necessarily replace the world with a virtual representation, but make our world we live in richer and better. And then there's going to be other sensations, smell. They're going to be, you know, you can feel the wind as you're watching the screen. And I should say, these things people talked about before. You know, these visions, you know, of the kind of sensorama when you can feel everything.
Yeah.
It's very old vision, but now we have technology actually to make it happen.
Wow.
So the big difference is that we are building technologies that it works.
In the end, do you think that humans will end up as a set of data in a box?
That's one of the futures, to live in a box, maybe somewhere in the desert. We have this giant castle where everybody sits, you know, and digitally represented. If that's what will happen, then it's going to happen. I believe in evolution. Thank you.
Voel eens met je vinger over het scherm.
Waarom?
Nou, voel maar even. Doe maar.
Oké.
Wat voel je?
Een scherm.
En hoe voelt dat?
Glad.
Nou, wat hij kan, is ervoor zorgen dat het niet meer glad voelt, maar dat het bijvoorbeeld voelt als een plant, of als fluweel, of als schuurpapier. Dat voelt... Vind je het wat?
Ja, cool.
Ja. Hij zegt uiteindelijk, als alles digitaal wordt, dan hoef je uiteindelijk misschien helemaal de deur niet meer uit. Dan maak je alles in je huis gewoon mee. Vind je ervan?
Niet een fijn idee.
Nee?
Nee.
Oké. Want je wil geen robots en je wil dan ook niet van dat soort virtual reality? Dus je wil eigenlijk helemaal geen toekomst, zo'n moderne toekomst?
Nee, ik vind het echt prima zoals het nu is.
Ja?
Ja.
Ik ga je nu iets vragen, heb ik eigenlijk nog nooit gevraagd, hè? Denk jij dat je kinderen wil?
Ik denk het wel, maar ja, het kan nog veranderen, maar ik denk nu in ieder geval wel.
En hoe stel je je dan voor dat je met die kinderen woont? In wat voor huis? Of wat
ik weet niet. Ik denk er nooit over na.
Nee? Maar zou je op het platteland gaan wonen of wat denk je?
In de stad.
Hoe Max in de toekomst gaat leven, dat ga ik nu meteen aan de jonge Deense architect Bjarke Ingels vragen. Met zijn baanbrekende concepten katapulteerde hij zichzelf rechtstreeks in de top 10 van 's werelds beste architecten.
If you look down here, that's the Hudson River Park. So this is a former industrial pier where they used to have containers and goods coming in. Now you have trees growing and parks, and you can see they're not growing out of the bedrock. They're actually standing on a pier made by humans on a pile. So in a way, we've started to translate the infrastructure of the industry of the past into the framework for our culture and social life of the present. It's almost accepting that the architecture is a man-made extension to the natural landscape. But let me show you, like this idea of bringing nature into the city. It's basically a power plant that turns household waste into electricity and district heating. So if you take, you know, under your kitchen sink, the trash bag, it's 3 kilos of trash normally. That turns into 4 hours of electricity and 5 hours of heating. So you can almost become your own energy source. This is going to be the cleanest waste-to-energy power plant in the world. It's going to be completed in 2017. You know, somehow the job was how can you make such a big building that it doesn't like piss off all the neighbors? And making it look good is one thing, but if it actually becomes like a big public park where you can do something that you can't do anywhere else in Denmark, skiing, suddenly it becomes a real contribution. And you know, you have something called NIMBYism, which is like not in my backyard. People that complain about stuff that happens in their backyard. And normally people would complain about a power plant, but we've been getting emails from people asking when are we going to finish the power plant because they want to ski on it. So we nicknamed it the powder plant. Architecture is not a goal, it's a means. Architecture is not the reason. Life is the reason, and architecture is there to support life. Max, I think the trick about cities is that, and architecture is that it's way too important to just leave to the architects. So I think if people like you, who might not want to become an architect, you should still express your concerns and your demands and your desires and your dreams for the city you want to live in the future. Because as people, we actually have not only the possibility to create the city we want to live in, we have the responsibility to make the city we want to live in. Architecture is not the reason. Life is the reason, and architecture is there to support life.
Oké, dus architect Bjarke Ingels zegt: Life is the reason. Ons leven moet centraal staan. Hoe moet ik dat zien? Is onze westerse levensstijl wel voor iedereen toegankelijk? Chandra Nair is oprichter van de Global Institute for Tomorrow, een invloedrijke Aziatische denktank. En hij schreef het boek Consumptionomics over consumptiepatronen en de opkomst van Azië.
Mr. Nair.
Hello, hi. Good morning, good evening.
Good evening for me, good morning for you. Hi. You're in Kuala Lumpur. How many people are surrounding you there?
The greater metropolitan area of Kuala Lumpur has a population of about 5 million people. The city proper has a population of about 2 million.
I talked to a Danish architect who argues that megacities aren't so bad, provided that we design them with the inhabitants in mind and with ecology in mind. And that will be the future for most of us. How do you see that?
Well, I mean, these are...
Oh, sorry. I don't know what to do. Something happens here. There is something terribly wrong with our connection. I can't hear you. I'm going to check with a technician. Do you hear me now?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Shall we try it once more? I'm sorry. We have connection.
It's all right.
We're connected.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Nair.
Hello, hi, good evening.
Hi. Good morning to you, I suppose. You are in Kuala Lumpur. How many people are surrounding you?
The greater metropolitan area of Kuala Lumpur has a population of about 5 million people. The city itself, I guess, has a population of about 2 million. And with that, all the usual urban nightmares in terms of too many cars, traffic, etc.
It would probably be called a megacity already. I talked to a Danish architect earlier, and he claims that megacities are probably going to be the places to live for most of us. And he said it's not bad, provided they're designed well, with ecology in mind, inhabitants in mind. What is your view on that?
Well, my view is that the megacities are already with us, so it's not part of the future. It's with us already. Most of the megacities we live in Asia are dumps. and even the larger cities. So people who live in small countries with small cities are saying profound things about we can design these things ecologically. I don't have time to go into the details, but I would argue that most megacities cannot be ecologically sustained unless we buy into the argument that they can be parasites on the hinterland. I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to know that 5-6 billion Asians in 2050 cannot and should not aspire to live Western lifestyles. This is simply not possible. And therefore, Asia will need to reshape capitalism to save the planet, because the current Western economic model essentially thrives on underpricing resources and externalizing true costs.
But most people in Asia would go like, we want a car, we want a microwave, we want it all, like they have in the West.
Actually, this is not true. The majority of Asians are actually saying, where's my water? Where's my toilet? Where's my house? Where's my little public health services? And how about education? The desirable economic model for your daughter will be one in which she eschews the sense of privilege and fully begins to understand the true cost of things. But at a larger level, it becomes quite difficult because she'll be trapped in that economic model which essentially seeks to, as I put it crudely, allow you to buy things you don't need with money you don't have. And in the West, of course, if you're middle class, then to impress people you don't like. This is not a privilege that can be afforded by the majority of human beings who are not even at the periphery of consumption yet.
Right. Should I tell her to start to learn Chinese? Because everybody's telling me that China is going to be the leading power in the world.
I think the suggestion that, you know, people should all learn Chinese, it's all over-exaggerated. I mean, China is already a lot of Chinese speakers. What would be good for her is actually to understand the language of international relationships.
Zo, dat is ontnuchterend. Chandra Nair legt de vinger op de schrijnende tweedeling tussen arm en rijk. Azië gaat de wereld redden, zegt hij. Maar dus niet met ons westerse consumptiepatroon. Want dat is blijkbaar niet voor iedereen weggelegd. David Ewing Duncan is wetenschapsjournalist en gespecialiseerd in verlenging van het leven. Onlangs schreef hij het boek When I'm 164.
Could I get a Caesar salad?
Chicken?
No chicken. No chicken.
For you, Seth?
And I'll have a carrot orange juice, please. No ice. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say, I'm more interested in health span, actually, than lifespan. And I think a lot of people are. You know, who wants to be old and frail and decrepit? Right. You want to be healthy, you want to have your mental faculties. In many animals, we've already extended lifespan, like flies and even mice, you know, which are more like us than flies. And some of these animals, it's 2-3 times. With little worms, or little tiny worms, 10 times their normal lifespan, just by manipulating the genes. We haven't been able to do that with humans, and in fact it would be...
Are we going to?
Well, the statistics are telling us that your daughter could very well live over 100. So, and I'm not that interested, believe it or not, in some kind of major technological fix that allowed me to live forever. Possibly, depending on who you talk to, there are people who think that some of these longevity fixes, you know, genetic or some other kind of science, might actually even extend your daughter's lifespan, or people being born right now could live well beyond 100. But we haven't talked about something really crucial. Do I really want to be still, have a body of a 40-year-old or something, with, taking the job, taking up space that my great-great-grandchildren should be taking?
So you're saying... Maxie!
Hallo.
Hoi.
Hoi.
Wat leuk dat je belt. Ik heb gesport.
Ja, ik zie het.
Ik heb net gehoord dat je 164 kan worden. Jij dus.
Ik haal het waarschijnlijk niet meer. Gefeliciteerd.
Dank je. Dus...
Vind je niet?
Dat hoef ik echt niet.
Nee, echt? Waarom niet?
Ik weet niet. Ik denk dat je op een bepaald moment wel gewoon klaar met het leven bent.
Je vindt niks leuk van de toekomst.
Nee, sorry.
Ik ga weer verder, oké?
Ja, ik moet ook gaan.
Dag lieverd.
Dag.
Ik mis je wel hoor.
Ja, ik jou ook.
Nou, dat klinkt heel enthousiast. Wat?
Ik mis jou ook.
Oké.
Dag.
Dag lieverd. Doei. Hello?
Good morning.
Daniel, listen, I'm in LA. It's in the middle of the night. I just learned my daughter can be 150 years old, and I can't sleep. I'm just kind of worried about what kind of mess is she going to live in. So I would like you to help me out. For instance, will one planet be enough to feed all the people that will be here, and will that future be sustainable? I mean, we're fighting now over oil already. And I was just thinking she's going to see war after war after war.
Energy in the future, it isn't oil and gas anymore. It's wind, it's solar, it's hydro, it's geothermal, it's esoteric approaches, and it's wind, and it's oil and gas. It's all of those things combined. Something incredible has happened in Germany in the last 5 years. Between 2008 and 2012, the cost of solar panels has fallen by 80%. 40% of all the electricity consumed in Germany came from solar power. 40%. So it's equivalent, when the sun is shining, of 35 nuclear power plants was built in 4 years, creating 110,000 jobs. That's the difference that policy makes. That is progressive, looking to the future and solving tomorrow's problems, not yesterday's problems.
Best alternate for you? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, coming up, we'll tell you about it here.
You have to be savvy with computers. There's
reliever sold at major.
Detroit, it's home to Motor City.
Hi there. These Clorox wipes disinfect twice.
Make meal magic from start to finish with the one and only.
Onophoudelijk worden we aangespoord om te consumeren en nog meer te consumeren. Wanneer is genoeg genoeg? De vooraanstaande filosoof en socioloog Edward Skidelsky schreef samen met zijn vader het boek How Much is Enough?
Well, we were both concerned about the way modern capitalism has been developing, particularly since the 1980s. Growing inequality, growing consumerism, declining provision for health and education and other good things. And I suppose at a deeper level, the fact that growth no longer seems a sensible goal in societies that are already very rich.
What is the importance for her to connect to the world, and how will she connect to the world?
I'm not too optimistic about the internet as a tool for bringing people together.
Ik geloof niet dat digitalisering mensen uit elkaar drijft.
I think face-to-face, human relationships are always going to be important.
Do you think that future technologies will change our sense of purpose in life?
I think that will change. I mean, I think that actually robots are going to make a lot of human jobs redundant. So yeah, we're going to have to get used to that situation.
How will this be for my daughter in the future, you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to find in life in other ways by
what kind of ways?
Maybe developing our capacity for play, playing more games, and more creative games. I mean, at the moment, a lot of our leisure activities involve consumption. We don't think that we've really enjoyed ourselves unless we've spent a lot of money.
Right.
I think what I'd like to see in the future is people, finding ways of enjoying themselves and, leading meaningful lives that don't involve spending money.
When enough is enough, then what will be, let's say, for my daughter, the new reason to live?
I think just striving for excellence in whatever you do is a very powerful human motive, and it always will be.
Misschien zien we in onze reis naar een stralende toekomst wel de belangrijkste grondstof over het hoofd. Verbinding tussen mensen. Maar hoe kunnen we echte verbinding tussen mensen behouden als alles gedigitaliseerd wordt?
Ik denk niet dat alles gedigitaliseerd gaat worden. Ook al zul je alle verbindingen, zelfs emotie, geur kunnen digitaliseren.
Touch, talk, listen, hear, smell.
Je kunt uiteindelijk bijna alles digitaliseren, maar de menselijke emotie blijft de menselijke emotie en mensen blijven elkaar fysiek opzoeken.
Tijd om te spreken met Erik Hoving, ingenieur en Group Chief Technology Officer van KPN.
Digitaal maakt het makkelijker. Het is sneller, breder, meer geconnecteerd met alle mensen in de wereld.
Make our world we live in richer and better.
De nieuwe smartphone heeft genoeg processing power om een operating systeem te draaien. Alle law of more capaciteit die je van nu af aan nog krijgt, alle verdubbelingen kunnen we gebruiken voor applicaties. Alle mensen die naar die digitale wereld gaan bewegen, en dat gaan uiteindelijk 7 miljard mensen in deze wereld doen, die zullen zich op die digitale wereld onveilig voelen.
In the future, everyone will have 15 minutes of privacy.
En ik denk dat een van de grootste dingen van de toekomst is om die 7 miljard users op die digitale wereld veilig te maken. Dit noemen we nu een smartphone.
Maar het is geen telefoon.
Dit is geen phone. Wat is dit nou? Dat is dé vraag van de toekomst. Wat is dit nou? Is dit de digitale verpersoonlijking van mij? Of is dat de interface tussen mij en de digitale wereld?
What happens when your daughter decides to upload her mind into a machine?
Dus wat zou het nou fantastisch zijn als jij gewoon over 10 jaar een soort digitale kopie van jezelf in de vergadertafel kon zetten en jij gaat gewoon zelf wat anders doen, totdat jou een vraag wordt gesteld en dan kijk je even wat er gebeurt. Je kunt natuurlijk heel veel dingen parallel opeens doen. Want hoeveel verloren tijd hebben wij in een dag? Nou, als je nou je digitale jouw digitale evenbeeld, al die verloren tijd kunt laten doen, dan kan jij de dingen doen die je echt belangrijk vindt. Hey Max. Ik denk dat het goed is dat we in de toekomst met nieuwe veranderende verbindingen een heleboel dingen kunnen gaan verbeteren. Zou het niet fantastisch zijn dat jij in plaats van 8 uur op school 4 uur op school zit? Veel efficiënter, veel effectiever voor jou. En dat je die andere 4 uur hebt om echt leuke dingen te doen.
What happens when your daughter decides to upload her mind into a machine? Do you still love her? Is it okay to erase her program?
Fantasy is what we'd like things to be like. Good luck for your daughter and others of her generation.
have something called NIMBYism, not in my backyard. People that complain about stuff that happens in their backyard. And normally people would complain about a power plant.
Mr. Nair.
You're not going to create another future for your daughter by staying up at night. You're going to create another future for your daughter by spending time with her.
Ik hoorde dat je bang was voor die robots. En ja, dat ben ik eigenlijk ook wel. Ik vind die robots ook helemaal niks.
Could I get a Caesar salad? No chicken, no chicken.
I think just striving for excellence in whatever you do is a very powerful human motive, and it always will be.
I think we will not be able to make intelligent robots for very simple reasons. We can't make anything perfect. We always make bugs.